Well, I was around 10 years old. That is when I really realized that I'm different than others. And that started in my home, that I had a dream of next day, of entire day, what people were saying to me, what I was discussing with people, and that was a school day. And even in a dream, I had meltdown in evening, and how my parents responded to me. That was in a dream, and that dream have completely repeated, and I did have that meltdown, and that's when I realized that I'm different. So before I realized that I'm different, I thought that everybody sees world as I do. So for me, that was normal, that I do see this reality, and that I see also the different dimension. Then now I do understand that that's a different frequency. So I do see dead people as well, and they talk to me same as like real life people, but they're a bit different. And then also I do see things like fairies and elementary. So that is more spirit from nature than actually like real person. And also I have connection with all living things. So for me that was normal, that I understand tree, that I understand animals. So I thought that how everybody else is. I do believe that we are all born same, that we are all born with those abilities, but it is programming of society and programming of parents, then they make us forget. And I guess I'm the one that didn't forget. My love for energy was born probably when I was about 6. I was going to my grandma's farm, and tree next to road that I was going to, that was unsealed road. The tree got hit by lightning, and that lifted me off the ground and threw me down with the rocks. And that's when I have experienced the power of nature, and I wanted to be that power, to feel that power in me. So everything after that led me to the point where I am now. So first I thought that I should follow steps of Nikola Tesla and work with electricity as a power, because my dad was teacher of mathematics and physics, and I was understanding all those things before I even start read and write. So that's why I believe then that's the part of energy that I should follow. So I studied chemistry, I studied physics, and nuclear physics was something that I fell in love with. But I didn't proceed that as a career. Then I was 16 when I discovered then there is a lot more of that energy within us, and what I could do with that energy. So I guess by 15, 16, that's when I did experience then there is healing energy in hands that we could use. But at that time, I didn't believe that I actually have it, no matter that I was doing that unknowingly. And I was fascinated with telepathic communication and how much information can get exchanged without of using words, with just exchanging the energy. So that's what led me where I am now. First, that started when I was really young. I think that I was about 4. Then I remember my first dream. Then there was a prophetic dream of me living in another continent apart from my family. Then short after, there was another dream that showed me about the war that is going to happen in Yugoslavia and how it's going to happen. Then, because of the fact that I do see the different dimension, the dead people, that what is labeled here as a medium. But again, I didn't know till like maybe 10 years ago that I found out what mediumship is. I was doing that all my life, but didn't have a name for it. For me, that was just talking to dead people. I also psychically read the energy from another soul. I do connect with my higher self, so I do have the visual and I do have audio that I will often just hear things that they are not here. I think that's clairvoyance. So all clears is what I do have, but also the healing ability. Yeah, and I do often visit past lives. I call them soul lines, and bloodlines is where I go through the ancestor lines, so from parents, grandparents, great-grandparents. So yeah. So with psychic abilities, that is more finding information what's currently needed for the soul to help you to overcome challenges and to come out of hardships, or even just see different perspective of what is currently happening in someone's life. Then when I discovered Reiki, I already have that energy, but I didn't know how to channel it, how to use it, and that's where Reiki helped me, how to put all of that together. So that was really significant from my grandpa, which passed away almost 30 years ago. I wanted to go to, I think that was like mind, body and spirit, but really small, in freshwater, in harbor diggers. And how I walked into that room full of people, that was just function room, so really packed with people and exhibitors. And another side of the room, I saw the man that reminds me of my grandpa, and I just wanted to hug him. And how I was walking towards him because I was amazed by that energy. He noticed me and he started walking towards me. And his name is John. John started talking about Qigong and how you make the energy ball with Qigong and how to use that energy. And I was looking at him, and he was the first person that I give him my hands, like, I have this energy, but I don't know how to use it. And he took my hands and told me, I'm Reiki master, I will teach you how. So that's how I got to all of this. John did teach me how. And I was trained as Reiki practitioner hands-on. So I have become Reiki master and teacher myself. And I do teach my students how to use hands-on Reiki, so to put the hands on a body and to heal. Reiki is coming from Japan. Dr. Mikao Shui is who started Reiki. And a few years ago, I visited the Mount Kurama, where everything started. So Dr. Mikao Shui decided to join the temple as a monk, and when he felt then there is nothing left in the world, he went into the mountain and meditated for 21 days. So each day he will throw the rock down the mountain and he will meditate. So after 21 days of meditation, that's when he experienced the energy coming out of the palms. So we have energy that is coming out of our palms, but also down the feet, because we're using that to ground ourselves. Is the hands that we use for healing. So that's how Reiki was born. And then Dr. Mikao Shui have trained many people and helped people in, I believe there was earthquake in Japan, then he healed many. He healed himself that day when he discovered, then he injured his ankle. And Reiki is like first aid for everything. And with channeling Reiki, you become a channel. So that's universal energy. It is not energy that is coming out of me. I just become channel. That energy from universe goes through me. But with choosing Reiki symbols, that is when you know exactly to what channel you're connecting with. And I always want to make sure that I'm connecting to light. For the person to be able to see light, needs to go through darkness in order to appreciate light and to choose to be with light. So for me, Reiki then connected all those pieces in my life, and no matter do I do healing, reading, or whatever, I always connect to Reiki energy, so that I know that I'm connected to light. How healing works. Few cases that really worked immediately, and then I have response straight away. First, there was a friend of mine who was due to have a baby, and she needed, she actually wasn't due. She needed to have a baby 1 month before she's due, so she was induced to have a birth. she had some enzymes, then they were going wrong, so they needed to do delivery earlier. So she went into hospital in the morning, get induction, and for her belief, it was important that baby was born that day. That was 7th of August. And there was evening, late afternoon, after 5 o'clock, that midwife came in and it's like, nah, this baby, it's not gonna be born today. And she was so scared. So there was like from 8 in the morning till like after 5, she was in pain, but no delivery. So her and her husband called me and asked if you can do something. It's like, okay, I'll see what I could do. They all had healings with me before, so that was easy to connect with their energy. So now I'm talking about distant healing. So they were in a hospital, I was at home. And when I felt Ashina's body, I felt that baby's shoulder was stuck. With that, then she just wasn't opening, she wasn't ready, she wasn't relaxed. So how I sort of comfort the baby, it was just ready to go, and all that I needed to do is just relax muscles of a pelvic floor, and I've done it with Reiki. And midwife was still in the room, and she said, okay, I'll just double check. And she said, oh my God, you are ready, this is impossible. She, like within 20 minutes, she opened up to have delivery, and the nurse was so shocked. So they called emergency doctor to be in, because they haven't experienced such a fast progress. And another 20 minutes and baby was born. Yes, there is another friend of mine who was visiting me. That was a few years ago. He had accident on a skateboard, then he hit his head and lost sense of smell. But he was a chef, she was professional chef, so for him to not have sense of smell, it was like worst nightmare it could happen. Because if you don't have a sense of smell, then sense of taste, it's not so good. That time I did use help of essential oils. So I do understand that essential oils have a lot higher frequency than our body, and by another hand, they had a smell. So I was working with energy and giving him a bottle to try to smell it. So in the beginning, he wasn't able to smell anything, and then he started to recognize the smell. So within one session that I have done with him, that took probably about 40 to 45 minutes, his smell came back. And he was over a year living with no smell due to head injury. When I connect with energy, and then with energy I connect with the body, and how I go through the body, I feel energy going through the body. So it's same how blood circulates through the body. And then when there is a blockage in certain part of a body, that is where poor circulation is as well. So that's, first it's happening energetically. When before we go sick, there is energetic blockage that is in the body. And if that hasn't been dealt with for a long time, that's where sickness is starting. Because then circulation is getting poorer and poorer, and the part is getting sick. And all begins with our emotions. So there is certain parts of a body, if you have trouble with kidneys processing fear as emotion. So if you have experienced lots of trauma in childhood, then will bring fear into your life. Most likely in late adulthood that you're gonna experiencing some issue with kidneys. And liver is processing anger, but that takes like decades to come visible. Then lungs process grief, heart process sadness. So each part of our body is connected to emotion. And when some emotion hasn't been released and has been stuck for decades, it's going to produce some sort of illness later in life. And then we're getting to the biggest part, that is cancer. And cancer is formed when person doesn't have a will to live. Then I asked myself how, that's when I get that wisdom and that knowledge, because I done research. I lost my dad due to cancer, and I had luck that I recognized that in my body and was removed without of any drama. Where they started, and it was on a dot 15 years from the time when I have experienced emotional pain that I didn't want to exist anymore. It's not that I wanted to kill myself, I just didn't want to exist. And then I have asked questions to my higher self and to get information from that universal knowledge why children have cancer. And but it came to me that either parents or grandparents went through that emotional process, and that's passed through the parents onto grandchildren or children. From grandparents, it is not likely, it's more that is coming genetically. But from parents, it is coming from emotions. That parents or grandparents had a part in their life, then they didn't want to live, they didn't want to exist. It's genetic material that is passed. So emotions impact all genetic material. And when child is formed, when embryo is formed, it holds genetic material from parents and from grandparents. So when female baby is born, it's born with all eggs that is going to produce during the lifetime. So while it's still embryo, that tissue was formed, so that is grandmother. So all eggs are formed while that embryo was formed. So before it was born, if it's a girl, it already had all eggs formed that it's going to produce in a life. And due to mother's connection with the baby, the whole genetic material of the mother, the blood and everything, it circulates to that embryo. So it passes all genetic material. So all trauma that mother has when it's giving a birth to a girl, till that point, it's passing on to that girl. And later in life, when that girl has a child, that already has genetic material from the grandmother. And all emotional trauma that grandmother had, it's passed onto that child. Either it's a boy or a girl. For example, if parent had some trauma in a childhood or teenage years, and whatever the trauma is, losing parents, being in accident, losing friend, being bullied, anything that gives them to the point then they didn't want to live or exist at that time. That emotion, if you don't work on yourself to clear those emotions, it's passed to a child. We do have 7 main chakras, and each chakra is connected to certain emotion in life and presents certain field in a life. So first chakra is base chakra, root chakra. So it is in a growing area and represents all basic things in life, but also represents father. So father in life represents somebody who's gonna keep you safe. And that's what that chakra does. It gives you all those basic things to keep you safe. So in this world, because finances like money, it's energy exchange that we still have, like all how you're gonna deal with the food and all of that is just in a base chakra. When I feel the energy, I feel how that chakra works. So if there is any issues in that chakra, then it's not that is slower or faster or doesn't move or it doesn't have clear red color, then I need to look in to find out the reason why. So either it is coming from a father directly. That's why lots of children, then they are born in marriages, then they are broken and father wasn't supporting them, do have some issue with the base chakra. And that also, that is where I see what usually you choose as a career to do. And then sacral chakra, that is second, that is orange chakra, that I do see that is connected to a mother. And that is also all creative energy, and that is where I see how your communication with the mother goes and creativity in life. And that is also connected to sexual organs, so it will give me information that somebody had any trauma earlier in life. So it is either earlier in this life, and with both of them, that is when I can check the bloodline. It is anything, any trauma that is passed on from the parents to a child or grandparents to a child. And then we go to the third chakra, that is solar plexus. That is how you connect with the world. That is your willpower. That is chakra that I believe that we need to keep protected. And so then information that comes to us can get filtered. So then we don't get stuck into feeling somebody else's emotions. So when globally things go wrong, they create enormous amount of fear. But if you protect your solar plexus, you won't feel that fear. And then it goes to the heart chakra that process all connection with friends and family and ourselves as well. So the heart chakra is green, and that's where all healing starts. So that is last chakra that have connection with the body and the spirit. And then goes to throat chakra, that is light blue color, and importance of that chakra is expression. So how well that chakra works, that's how well we can express ourselves. Expression can be verbal, can be written, or any other form of singing. Any artists usually have really good expression, and they express through their art. Then it goes to the third eye. That chakra is indigo color. It is important for that chakra to be balanced and to work in order for us to be able to see where we're going next. So it's like looking into your future, or being able to see with opening your physical eyes. And then crown chakra, that is in violet color, it is important to have that chakra balanced so that you have connection to your higher self and connection to your belief, and also connection to universe. But at the moment, I'm working with 14 chakras. There is a lot more chakras, then those are 7 main energy fields in a body, and then each chakra is connected to each gland in a body. So there is a whole more about chakras. But yeah, I do work at the moment with 14. I do work with horizontal lines, so there is smaller chakras in the palms or in the knees, but I start one, then it's below your feet. That is earth chakra, and to me that represents the soul path of a person, why you have chosen to be on earth and what is your purpose on earth. And that is where I see things. Then there are some things in your life that you are destined to come across. No matter what you do and try to change, it will still in some form be served to you. And then the other one, it is never one that I connect with, that is literally your belly button. For me, during the healing, it's important to connect to that chakra to clear the body and things that they were formed with the mother during the birth. So it is really important, especially when birth was difficult, because that has given codependency relationship with a mother and a child, and those are not healthy relationships. So either you're clingy or you don't have much of contact. So it is important that is balanced. And then upper heart chakra, because heart chakra to me represents friends and family, and upper heart chakra represents self-love and romantic love. So how much you're capable to love yourself, that much partner will be able to give you, because that much you are able to receive. And then all goes into spiritual chakras. So how you perceive the world, how much you're connected with divine, with your higher self. And divine, that is what I see in Stellar Gate. It is really important for us to remember that we are divine. We are that God or consciousness or whatever we're chasing and think we are part. We're not. We are that. Everything is connected. Auras are connected with chakras. So all those chakra colors, that's connected with your aura and how your aura works. So once your chakras are balanced, then usually your aura is balanced. I do believe that everybody can train themselves how to see auras. So if you put someone next to the white wall and then close your eyes, relax your mind, and try just slightly to open your eyes, you will be able to see the light around the body. And aura goes all the way out. And I also do believe that we can change the density of aura, and that all starts with our mind and our awareness. That electromagnetic field then surrounds us, and that is where environment and other people can impact your aura, or you can practice to stay in balance and keep the density of that energy field higher. And that way the other energies, either environment or other people's auras, wouldn't be able to influence your aura. And that goes further out. If you keep a dead ends, that will be able to move objects with energy without of touching. Because it is just, that depends how thick your energy field is around you. Aura can have all different colors, and aura is changing. It is not always the same color. If I do healing or I receive healing, my aura is mainly green. And if I stay in just opening to my higher self and to universe, then aura is more of indigo color or blue. So it's all different. If you had really challenging meeting with someone, then your aura is usually yellow, because needed to protect your solar plexus. So all different colors. I think that I was trying to find that photo, but once I have taken aura photo, I had all colors in it. It was like a rainbow around me. And I don't see then any of them had any preference to be better or worse of the colors. The main thing with aura is that aura is smooth, then it doesn't have a spike. So if you see aura as a smooth surface, you don't want any spikes up or in. So no out or inwards, because those are parts where aura is vulnerable. You want it to be smooth, no matter of the color. I do believe if somebody is willing to use powers for good, then they will be able to get trained. So if somebody is using Reiki, you can get trained, no matter that you don't have any psychic abilities. Then you can train into using healing energy, and the psychic will follow. With great power, it comes great responsibility. And I do believe that's the reason why majority of people later on in their lives access those powers when they already have that wisdom how to use them. First time that I have that experience of what energy and power is, I was really young, and there is other things that were happening later on in my life that I'm not sure how wise I will be of using those powers. Do I feel myself as being chosen? I'm still not sure about it, but I do have an encounter that happened to me when I was about 10 years old. When I was fully able to see the other dimensions was when I was taken into UFO. I was on a farm, and I always thought that, for decades, I have thought that was a dream, just had a dream, because I had other realistic dreams. That time I didn't understand what astral projection is and how I was able to travel. But I still remember how that UFO looked inside. And at that time I got implant that I still have. It is like nanotechnology, and everything changed from that moment. Everything, it was just pressing the button for all those feelings and sensations that I already had. They were just amplified to thousands. So I was already seeing other dimensions. I was already having predictions. But after that moment, everything just becomes so clear. For being young and not being able to talk much about it, it was really confusing. It wasn't an easy time. My family, that was outside in front of the house, my grandparents on a farm, and that was evening time. Then I was rolling, there was slope, then I was rolling on a grass when I looked up in the sky and saw a red star. Like all other stars were yellow, and this one was red, and it was becoming closer and closer, and that's when everybody started to panic. And I had understanding that I need to go with them, and I was telling to my family, it is okay, I just need to go, and I need to give them something, they will give me something back. I didn't know what need energy exchange or information exchange is. There was, not enough words in my vocabulary. And that's when I was lifted. So I was lying down and all my body was just lifted up. So my family has no memory of that at all. None of them. It only stayed with me, but stayed with me as a dream, not as a full memory. And later on, that was probably about 10 years ago, when I have done some studies and research about UFOs and find out that was time when they were really active over Yugoslavia. In the same time when that happened to me, the pilots from Air Force, at the time they were reporting, there was all reports, and there was interview with, I think, with 2 of them that I have seen, and what they have explained, that's what I have seen. Of UFO, it was a disc, what I could see from the bottom, but that wasn't what I was amazed, but stayed in my memory. It's inside of it. And inside there was lots of lights, but none of that had a physical form. So that was like all hologram. And I'm talking about like 1987. So that time I couldn't even, in like Star Wars, I couldn't see anywhere. Then things are moving in hologram. Then there is just all flashing lights around, but nothing had a full physical form. So even the table that I was lying on, it was more like a cloud, not like a hard surface that I was lying on. So yeah, and those beings, I do see them more as a light, maybe tiny bit of grayish, but I still cannot see the full features because they were majority just light. It was so bright. All that I remember, then they had really, really tiny mouths.
Look like they look green?
Not grays, no. They were too bright in order to be grays, too bright. Reincarnation is that we always choosing some path to take in order to gain experience. So no matter what you do in this life, the most important thing that you're taking from this life is just experience. And if we remember all our past lives, we will be like geniuses. You will be able to do anything. Whatever could come into your mind, you will have a skill to do it. So I was always wondering where from my skills are coming. Because I did study chemistry, I did study physics. And then later in life where I end up was dry cleaning industry, that I didn't do any of dry cleaning, I was just dealing with the clothes. The fascinating bit is that I did understand how factory works, that were majority on washing and steam. And I just understand all of that, how operates, how it works. I always was fascinated with flying and to be in the sky, not to be on earth. So lead me to a point that I have taken helicopter riding lessons. So to try to control helicopter for me, that was like mind-blowing thing. And I just wanted to understand how I can have interest in all of this and how I could understand. So that led me to past life regressions. So first one that I have done, find out myself in London, born in 1900, died in 1928. I was daughter of a man who owned steam machines, factory making steam machines. So I guess that's where knowledge of how steam works and how all of this in dry cleaning operates, it comes from that life. So in that life, I did design steam machines. During that regression, I have seen drawing. Then later on, I have done research and find out that that machine was different than majority of steam machines are vertical machines. So you get source of heat and water and steam comes up. And this one was different, it was horizontal. And that's how I was able to find, because I did understand what drawing is, and I was able to find that, and that machine is still in London, it's in a museum. It is used for educational purposes. So back in 2015, I booked my trip to Europe, visit the family, and then I went by myself to London to see what I have done. So in London, I didn't need a map. I just know that city, but all part. I also find that museum with no map. What I have checked is what station with the tube I need to get off the tube. I walked out of the station and I was walking through the streets and found that museum, unknowing first time that I was there by myself. Going through the museum, when I saw that machine, all energy in me just disappeared. I felt really strange. Even some photos that I have taken of like selfies of myself there, it doesn't look like my face, doesn't look like my face. And I felt so tired, so I wanted just to have a coffee to get something to keep me going. So I went in the front of museum in a cafe, got myself a cup of coffee and sat down in an armchair. And how I sat down, I put a coffee next to me on an armchair, armrest, and 40 minutes of my life disappeared. I remember seeing the clock, and next thing that I remember is child in front of me looking at me, and I looked up to the clock and 40 minutes was gone. I have no recollection of that whatsoever. But after that, I started getting more interested in the past lives, and since that time I have unlocked many more. So I was communicator on one planet that is first past life after that one that I remember. So I wasn't living in a human form. That was 7 galaxies away from this one. I used to live in Palladians as well. On Earth, I had 2 lives in Australia. One about 10,000 years ago, one about 5,000 years ago. Then I had past life that was just a bit more than 2,000 years ago. That connects me to the Christ energy. Don't mix it with the church. Christ energy, it's one thing, church, it's another thing. Then there is some other past life that I could get wisdom from, but I still didn't fully open that lives on Earth. And another life on Earth then for me had real significance is life of Egypt, but not Egypt as we know now. The Egypt that existed in the same time of Lemuria and Atlantis. And that time I wasn't full physical being. I was being then that was something that was more energy, had a more energetic form than physical form. But I had some sort of physical form as well. And I do know for my next life that I will come to Earth again, but I won't have physical form. I will have more of an energetic form than a physical form. So, for example, at the moment, we have lots of those beings in this room. Because what I'm doing now is connecting with energy and passing on to the world to see. And their excitement about it is huge. So I do have my guardian angels. Then I do have few of the angels, and I do have 2 of the people. Then they are coming from another planet. So the difference between us and them is that their body is functioning on a different frequency. So the frequency of our eyes won't be able to see them, but I do feel them. Sometimes I do see them. That's what mediumship is. So when I rise my frequency and those any beings and people who passed away lower their frequency, so that's why it's called medium. So that's when I'm able to see them with my physical eye. But at the moment I do feel them. So yeah, to me that's exciting. The shortest message that I will pass on, that did come through one of my meditations after doing yoga. So I done yoga and then went into meditation. Is more of a reminder. We are all little stars. The brighter we shine, the less darkness there is. That is all. So yeah, for everybody to remember, then you are divine energy. You are not apart from divine. And once you see yourself as divine energy, you will be able to rise your frequency a lot quicker.